Hello. Today we will speak a little bit about proposal writing. This is the first session in proposal writing. And the first we want to do today is needs assessment and speak about how you actually perform a needs assessment just before you choose your topic for your project. So what is a needs assessment and why we do it? This is what will happen in the next few minutes. So what's a proposal in general and what's a research proposal specifically? In other words, what is the plan? What do you really want to do? So research proposal is a document that describes the essential features of a study, how it will be conducted in the future, and the strategy that we will be doing. It may be logically and successfully accomplished. Excuse me, this is the definition, and this is what we should be knowing about it. So it's kind of a document, and what is written in this document is the actual plan to what we intend to do in the future. Why is it important? Well, it's important because it tells what you actually want to do, so it kind of protects you. And it also tells people that you will be working with what exactly is required of them. So in order to write down a good proposal, there are a number of features and factors that are elements that we have to cover. Number one is that we have to define the problem. After defining the problem, we kind of create objectives for what we want to accomplish. Then we start thinking about the methods. How will we accomplish this? Of course, while defining the problem, you have to do literature review. While doing the objectives, you also have to go back to the literature. And while writing down the methods and procedures, also you might need a little bit of literature review. All of these issues together, or all of these subsets together, are called the conceptual framework. So imagine that this is my house. It's not so nice, I know. Thank God it's not my house. But every day I go out of this house to my front yard and find it looking like this. I don't really feel happy. I feel so unhappy. I'm so disengaged. I hate what I see every morning, especially when I take a look and find my backyard looking like this. All of a sudden, I feel sad. I feel demotivated. I'm not working as much as I should work, and everything is not falling into place. So what do you think I should do about it? Should I, for example, just leave it like this? Should I think of a solution? And what do you think the real problem is? What we want to say is that my real problem at the moment is that I feel sad. I might attribute the cause of this sadness to the way my front yard and backyard looks, because they're very demotivating. But my real problem is that I'm feeling sad and that I'm not being productive. So what's the problem in general and how do you find it? A needs assessment is the process where you start looking at your organization and looking for your needs. So the moment I felt sad, I started looking for reasons. And when I thought deep enough, I found that the front yard made me very upset whenever I saw it. And maybe this is the reason for my sadness. So the needs assessment is what? It's an answer to the what question. What are you going to do? So what are you going to do? And how do you think you should be doing it? There are many types of needs assessment. One of them is the gap analysis. And this is, for example, when your organization, you want your organization to reach what we call the benchmark. So you take a benchmark and then take a look. what is the gap between myself, my situation at the moment, and the benchmark? This is called the gap. And you try to investigate how to overcome this gap. This is a needs assessment. Sometimes you do a reflection on action, or you do a reflection in action. So you do the reflection on action when, for example, an incident happens. Then after the incident, you sit together as a team and you reflect on it and you try to understand how to solve it. This is called reflection on action. Reflection in action is when you do the same process, but you do it while the action is happening. Sometimes you do self-assessment by reflection that you do in diaries, journals, logbooks, or for example, reviews. Sometimes you ask your peers to review the situation, like for example, when we get a peer assessor or a peer reviewer to review our curricula. Sometimes observation is enough. Sometimes critical incident review is important, and this is what we do when an incident happens, for example, in a hospital or it happens in our educational facility. And of course, practice review, where we actually get to review our actions and our functions and what we do while we are practicing it. So this is the gap analysis, as we said, is the formal method that we do to test the gap. Reflection on action and in action, they differ from each other on the timing of reflection. Self-assessment by diaries and journal, this is the use of reflection and the quality of reflection. Peer review, you use somebody from outside you, one of your colleagues, to review your actions. Observation is what you get to do just by observing the performance, maybe, of physicians, of nurses, of whatever it is you want to observe. Critical incident review is the same review process, but it happens in relation to an incident that happened. And practice review is when you review the practice and the notes and charts and whatever documents there is to coincide with the practice. Take care and needs assessment is different from an assessment. So an assessment is assessment of the education, but a needs assessment is the assessment of the needs of the organization or of a certain group. So please don't mix up between needs assessment and assessment. These are two different terms. So how do we do a needs assessment? We either do it by observation. Maybe we need to create questionnaires. Maybe we do interviews with some people. We might want to do a focus group. And of course, sometimes we want to study documents. The first activity that we were doing today is for you to try to list on a flip chart the reasons for why you joined this course. Doing that, you will be reflecting deeply on the need, on your individual need to join a course like this. It's kind of an observational needs assessment. So with yourself, just take 10 minutes, write down your response, jot it down, and think deeply about it. When you are done with that, select a problem that you face in your workplace and justify your choice. Take a look around you. Think of the things that you do every day when you go to work. Think of the actual problems that exist. Do not think of what you want to do. Rather, think of the problems, the inherent problems that are present in your workplace. And you can take 10 minutes to do that. Select one problem and make sure that you know which problem has the priority for you. Taking a look at all the problems that you find in the workplace, make sure that when you choose a priority problem, there is feasibility for you to actually do something about it. It's relevant to your expertise. Try to avoid duplication of efforts that are already being done. Make sure that whatever you want to do or the area you want to tackle is politically acceptable, it's applicable, it's within your scope of interest, there is theoretical and practical value to tackling it, and it's good for you to tackle in a year. So we always try to refer to something that can be done in a year, and this is your time frame. So, what is the problem? What is its cause? What do you think the possible solution is? So when we tackle a needs assessment, think, what's the problem that I see? What is the cause? And do you think you have a solution in your head? This is called the assumption. So I assume, so my problem is that I am sad every morning. I don't feel good. This is the problem. The cause for this, as far as I know, and as far as my assumption goes, is that whenever I open my door in the morning, I see an ugly garden. And the solution to this, in my assumption, is that if I plant this garden, all my problems will go away. This is called my assumption. So your assumption should contain what do you want to do, why you want to do it, why do you think it's important? Has anybody done any similar work before? How are you going to do this? How long do you think it will take? So, in order to put all this together, we put it together and we call it a statement of need. So, a statement of need has a little bit of the background of the problem and the justification on why you want to tackle this problem. The background part of the proposal gives you an opportunity to talk a little bit in depth about the problem and say why it's a problem. Why do you think it exists? What's the context? Is it a problem happening in the household? Is it in undergraduate education? Is it in postgraduate education? What previous solutions were tried to address this problem? What is still missing? What is the solution that you are proposing? And who are you? And what tells us that you can actually do something about it? So, what are your set of skills? So, the background information talks a little bit about the theoretical rationale, the facts, observation, claims that led the investigator to propose the question. So, for example, once upon a time, I was writing a proposal to create a program to address the negative feelings that psychiatric patients have about being treated badly in the community. So I wanted to create a program to address this problem. So my theoretical rationale was that maybe if I create a level of education for people in the communities, these patients would stop feeling bad and they will be more comfortable dealing with the community. The fact about this is that, yes, mental patients do have a stigma in the environment and in the community they live in. The observation that I was seeing at the time was that mental patients, they tended to commit suicide after they left the inpatient ward or facility. And my claim is that people are treating these patients badly because they are ignorant about the facts that go with mental health. So this is kind of the background that led me to propose a question, to propose a project to deal with this. I have a huge project, the part in red up there, a huge idea. And the concept is that you transfer this idea and funnel it down to the green part, which is actually what the reader will read in your proposal. So the reader knows, and the reader doesn't know. What you want is for the reader to know a little bit more than what they don't know. So when the reader reads your proposal, they are supposed to understand all the information that is in your head and all its background. And now you come to justify, why do you think the solution that you are proposing is different? What is new and what is different about this program that you are proposing to introduce, for example? How is it different from all other programs? What are the benefits that come with this program? Are you experienced enough to carry it out? So, for example, do you have a degree in medical education? Do you have experience in creating similar programs? So, another activity. Remember that problem that you whittled down in activity 2? Just try to think and design a background section and a justification for that problem. So you chose a problem in activity 2. That problem, just take a deeper look at it and try to design a background section that speaks more about this problem, where it's coming from, why it's important, why you think you can solve it, and what is your proposed, what is already known about this problem. You have 10 minutes to do that. So your take-home message today is that needs assessment is crucial, and learning it is a crucial stage in research proposal writing. Background information should include the theoretical rationale or claims that have led you to propose the research question. Just before I leave, I need to tell you that there is a section in your workbook that we need to work on at the moment. You need to work on the pre-proposal activity 1 and 2 and the proposal writing activity 1. You are requested to think a little in depth about them and write and fill in the workbook regarding these sections. Try to always ask yourself the question, is this actually a problem? Why is it a problem? And then flesh it out into the proposal workbook. Good luck, and thank you so much for being with us today. And if you have any questions, we will be happy to answer these questions in the comment section below the presentation. Thank you so much.